Robert Bîndar on Jupyter. Welcome, Robert. You're calling in from southern Romania, are you?
Yep, that's right. Hi, Kai, and nice to see you in New York today.
Yes, virtual New York. Yeah, so there's a common denominator between the previous speaker from Austin and you, and that is Python. The Jupyter is spelled with PY. So is this a trick Jupyter a trick to persuade millennials to start using something that looks like a command line, or is this a better command line interface for those who learned to program sometimes last century, like me?
Yeah. So when we first came with this idea, we designed the kernel for the Jupyter users that want to try out MariaDB. But if you are one of the more senior MariaDB users that is using the classical command line, but you also love user interfaces, you can try it out. Also, if you like to play around with your data and perform analytics, this will be a very good place to start.
So it seems to me like this is the intended for both, but primarily you spoke about data scientists, so to make it easier to use MariaDB as a data scientist, that's the primary use, but hey, any user of MariaDB can also benefit from the Jupyter kernel, right?
Yep, of course, yep.
So when can I get it?
Well, so you can already get it. The code is public on a new GitHub repository with everything we've done so far. So you can already install it, but you need to clone the repo and run the commands that are available in the installation instructions in the repository. But you have to notice that it is still in the very early stages, and our first release will come probably sometime in a month or so.
Okay, where can I get that one then? I mean, if you say that now I can already clone a GitHub repository and do some manual work and get it to be tested, but where can I get it then later on?
Yeah, so now you can get it by what is called through a local installation with pip. So you could basically clone the repo and you use pip to install from the local copy of the project. But afterwards, we have in plan, and this is one of our core values for this project, is to make it as available as possible and as easy to use as possible. So we'll prepare PyPy packaging and also Conda packaging so that you can install it with just one simple command, which is very common in the Jupyter ecosystem, and we love this about Jupyter.
So pip now and Conda later.
Yep. Actually, pip now and both later.
Pip now and both pip and Conda later. Sounds good. Yes. So it's been a while since you recorded the film, at least weeks. Has anything interesting happened with the code base since you recorded the film?
Yeah, so I actually got a bit more time to work on the project, and I managed to deliver the magic commands that were pitched in the film, and that is the matplotlib charting magics like line and the DF for exporting the data into CSV file. But also I added some extra so this feature was already on our roadmap, but it wasn't that high priority. But to make my development process easier, I implemented it, and this is the ability of the kernel to detect if there is a running MariaDB server instance, and if there is not, to launch an instance for you, so that if you're a new user and you want to try out something, you just start the Jupyter Lab and the kernel, and it will launch a server for you, and you can quickly test whatever you want to test.
So this seems like it's going to be, or already is, native MariaDB select statements that you say, as opposed to, there was another presentation here on the MariaDB Server Fest by Robert Hedgepeth about SkySQL, and he also showed a Jupyter network kind of thing. But to me it seemed like he was just connecting over Python. Now you're connecting and talking native MariaDB. And as I understand you, this is not just for people coding Python, am I right?
No, of course, no. So it is intended for people that love Jupyter and Python, but using the kernel, you can just write plain SQL statements like you write in your classical MariaDB command line client. But it is of course enhanced with some nice UI features like displaying the query results nicely and the magic commands and so on. But yeah, it talks natively with the MariaDB server through the classical command line client, which it controls as a subprocess.
So this really is an enhanced command line interface with.
Yeah, indeed, it's a nice wrapper that allows us to expose MariaDB into the Jupyter world, and I love that it was so easy to do this step and expose MariaDB into the data science world.
And platform-wise, as I understand it, you're sort of using it from a browser, or how do you use it?
Yeah, so the most common use case is to launch Jupyter Lab, which will basically behind the scenes launch a web server and open up a page for you that connects to that web server, and you can use you can use the kernel functionalities from the browser, which is a nice feature because it kind of allows us to be available on as many platforms as possible.
So a new command line interface for data scientists who are going to have an easier time using MariaDB, but also, if I understand you correctly, it's a better command line client because it's more visual and still using all the normal command line commands, also for those people who, like me, learned how to program last century.
Okay. Yeah, it's I agree with this statement. It's meant to serve both worlds. We hope to reach the new people in the industry and data science community that are not very familiar with the classical MariaDB client, like some of our senior developers are or senior users. But, yeah.
Excellent work. Well, thank you, Robert Bîndar in Romania. Looking forward to pip installing and condaing it. Thank you.
Please. Okay. Thank you. Bye.